Here in America, work is in trouble. We've offshored our manufacturing, sent away good jobs, and lost so much ability to make things. American Giant is a company that's pushing back against this tide. They make high-quality clothing, sweatshirts, jeans, dresses, jackets, and so much more, right here in the USA. Visit American-Giant.com and get 20% off your first order when you use code STAPLE20 at checkout. That's 20% off your first order at American-Giant.com, promo code STAPLE20.
No brakes, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome back. Things just getting underway in British Speedway for 2025. We'll hear some of the reaction after a close run thing at the Adrian Flux Arena, going down to the last heat and having to be separated by transponders. But the Belle Vue Aces got the first points on the board of 2025. We'll hear from the match winner, Dan Bewley.
Yeah, to be honest, I made a mess of it. It was pulling too good to the first corner. I wheelied past it, but I made a lot harder work out tonight than it needed to be.
We'll hear from the two team managers as well, Mark Lemon and Rob Lyon, very soon. We're also looking ahead to the Championship big weekend. Loads of action going on at Workington and at Scunthorpe. We've got the Pairs and the Championship League Riders Championship within 24 hours of each other. We'll hear from Andrew Bain of the Workington Comets.
Yeah, it's going to be a big one, and we're all looking forward to there should be some really exciting racing. And like you say, the weather's going to be a good one, so hopefully we'll get plenty of fans coming.
And ahead of this CLRC at Scunthorpe, we've also got Scunthorpe promoter and BSPL chairman Rob Godfrey on.
To get the best possible fields in all these events, we need to do it at the beginning of the season. A bit like the Peter Craven, at a different level. But championship-wise, to make sure that everyone's available, we need to do it at the beginning of the season.
We'll also catch up with a few of the new additions to the Sheffield Tigers lineup. We'll hear from Daniel Hume, Anders Rowe and Leon Flint. Plus, we catch up with Jason Edwards as well, as the Sheffield and Birmingham get set to face each other in the Rowe Motor Oil Premiership on Thursday. All this and more to come in this week's No Brakes, No Fear.
No brakes, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome along then to another episode of No Brakes, No Fear, the official podcast of British Speedway, with you every week through the Speedway season. Don't forget to like or subscribe or follow, whichever your favourite app insists that you do, so you don't miss any future episodes as they come along. I'm Ian Brannan, welcome along, and we start with the one fixture that took place in the Rowe Motor Oil Premiership on Monday night. In fact, it was the opening fixture of the Rowe Motor Oil Premiership League season, and Dan Bewley snatched a dramatic 46-44 win for the champions, the Belle Vue Aces, at Kings Lynn on Monday night. It went right down to the wire, Bewley coming out on top in an epic Heat 15 scrap with Chris Harris, defeating the Stars rider on the line by 0.02 seconds. They had to be separated by transponders, while the Aces skipper Brady Kurtz took the vital third place ahead of Nikolai Clint. A big confidence boost for the Aces after their disastrous KO Cup defeat at the hands of Ipswich last week, whilst the Stars were left to rue on an astonishing run of mechanical issues, as for 3 times in the first 6 races they saw riders break down while in 5-1 positions. Free scoring, Chris Harris led the way for the home side with 14 plus 3 bonus from 7 rides, Nikolai Clint scoring 10, Brady Kurtz with 13, and unbeaten until that final race, and Bewley picking up 10. Speedway, a sport of fine margins, perhaps none finer than that finish line on Monday night at the Adrian Flux Arena. Dan Bewley, though, securing the points for the Aces, and he's been chatting to Dave Rowe.
Dan, what a Heat 15. I mean, you struggled to make a gate all night, and then suddenly you pulled that out on gate 4.
Yeah, to be honest, I made a mess of it. It was pulling too good to the first corner. I wheelied past it, but I made a lot harder work out tonight than it needed to be.
Quite a race with Chris Harris, though, and you won it by 0.02 a second.
Yeah, we were close. To be honest, I didn't even care after the race. I was that pissed off at myself at the first corner. And but it's always a pleasure to race with Chris. He's a legend. He's a legend to everybody in Speedway, wherever you go, and it's always cool to race with him.
Big win for Belle Vue after what must have been a horrible night on Thursday.
Yeah, people, were saying we were useless. We should have all been sacked, and to be honest, they were right. So, nice to turn it around a little bit, but still plenty of room to improve. Tonight I think I didn't do anything special really. Felt like I rode alright, but starts are pretty average. So learned a lot tonight, to be honest. And I always love coming here, but I'm kind of sick of eating rocks. So looking forward to the next meeting.
Do you think there was anything mechanical on Thursday night? I mean, it was an extraordinary score, something going through the whole team.
Maybe, but I feel like Ipswich is a track where the home boys are so dialed in with setups, and for me, I got in front in one race, but I didn't even make the start. I went round Doyley and got the fastest time of the night, so I can ride the spot no problem at all. But just getting off the start there, and their home boys are so dialed in off the start that we're just making it too hard for ourselves. Like you see tonight, I had 5 races from the back pretty much, and you don't need to do that. Especially a track like Ipswich, it's not too easy to get past, so we need to stop making it so hard on ourselves.
So, top of the table for the Belle Vue Aces, clearly early days yet, because nobody else at the time of recording this has actually ridden, apart from those two. But the action picks up on Thursday. We'll look ahead to the upcoming fixtures in a moment. Let's hear from the 2 team managers first of all, though, and the victorious Mark Lemon first with Dave Rowe.
After the nightmare of last Thursday night, that's some way to come back. What a heat 15.
Yeah, saved the best for last. I mean, look, I do feel a little bit for Kings Lynn. They had 3 bike stoppages and a few crashes, and it didn't help their scoreline. So you take what you can get sometimes, and you ride your luck. But a massive turnaround after the performance in the Cup, and obviously we've ironed a few things out.
Some character there from someone like Zach Cook, who had a real tough start to the meeting and then popped up with an all-important win in heat 14.
Yeah, and obviously, it's the first win in the Belle Vue colours, so that's probably a big weight off his back. But I guess the longer it sort of takes to get that result, the pressure is mounting. You could see it, but he went out there and did a great job in heat 14, kept us in the game.
Dan Bury didn't make a start all night, and then did make a good one in heat 15. Where did that come from?
Yeah, it was a tough decision, to be quite honest, because Jamin Lindsay was riding quite well and popped out the start a couple of times and a couple of nice wins. But Dan had speed all night, but just couldn't capitalise on it. And I thought it was the gamble off gate 4. Gate 4 wasn't working great, and we just knew Dan had speed. So sometimes you're a bit of a sacrificial lamb in these circumstances, but he's world class for a reason. Does that sort of calm things down? I mean, that result on Thursday, for whatever reason, was a freak. No one really seems to know why. We know Ipswich are going to be very, very good. That's quite clear. But is tonight a bit more like what you expect to see? Yeah, look, when you got the bikes under you that are performing, it makes life a lot easier. Speedway's not for a very basic, controlled raw sport, it can be very complicated sometimes. But credit to the boys. It was a hard pill to accept. Getting hammered by Ipswich, but there was reasons for that, and obviously we just showed why.
For the Kings Lynn Stars then, a bit of a tough one to swallow. 3 5-1s blown in the early stages due to mechanical failures. Let's hear from the team boss of the Kings Lynn Stars, Rob Lyon, again with Dave Rowe.
Probably, have you ever had a situation like that? 3 5-1s in the first 6 races became 3 3s with basically last lap failures. That's so unfortunate.
I don't think I've ever experienced that, to be honest. It was just unbelievable. I mean, I said to Mark Lemon, you put a curse on us in some way, it felt like that. But it was incredible, especially being on 5-1s and those turned into 3 3s was so frustrating, and obviously was the difference really, obviously between us winning and losing the meeting. But that's Speedway, I guess. We deserved to win it hands down, but we didn't. That's the bottom line. So what we have proved, I think, tonight is that we're more than capable of competing with those type of teams, and with that type of setup with top big hitters, without a doubt. So we're disappointed, but we move on to the next one.
So juggling out towards the end, obviously thinking about heat 15, probably hoping you could win it in heats 12 and 14, which didn't quite happen in the end, obviously saving Bomber for 15. Difficult to work that one through.
It was, and Ben was struggling. Obviously he had some problems with the bike and from his initial breakdown, and I was banking on 12 and 14, and then 13 was a bonus if we managed to split the top 2. But unfortunately, Jamie Lindsay and Zach Cook spoiled the party and went out and won both races. But that's Speedway, I guess. And Bomber rode really well in 15, and like I say, I thought he got it on the middle, but he just missed out. Still, great race and great Speedway, I guess.
You're very honest to keep Ashton running in Heat 8 when he clearly had a knock. Perhaps some teams may have pulled him out. I guess the rider wants to go and prove it, doesn't he? It's a difficult situation.
It is difficult, but he felt like he wanted to go and it would be fine. Clearly he wasn't, and that's the way it goes sometimes. Bomber would have run out of rides anyway, to be quite honest. So, but what it did with his injury, with his fall, it obviously then made him what's the word? It knocked him obviously and made him ineffective for Heat 8, which was a race where, the way he's riding at the moment would have been a race he picked points up in. But like I say, that's Speedway, that's the luck, that's the way it goes, and congratulations to Belle Vue on their win. We move on to the next one.
Yeah, try and turn it around, obviously up there next Monday, which is not going to be easy, but they were beaten at home by Ipswich last week, and again, there's people in this team that can go well there. So
absolutely, we're, like I say, I'm quite encouraged by so far how solid it is and how the boys are performing generally as a team. Yes, there's individual performances, but we expected that because that's the way teams built. But it's good enough to compete. That's the main thing. And we move on and Belle Vue next week and see if we can get a result.
Lovely. Thanks, Rob. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll run through the rest of the fixtures in a moment. Just another note for Kings Lynn fans. Kings Lynn and Ipswich have confirmed dates for their local derby Premiership KO Cup semi-final. The tie will get underway at the Adrian Flux Arena. Monday, June 2nd is the date at the Adrian Flux Arena, with the Witches then hosting the return the same week, Thursday, June the 5th. So it is all in the same week. June the 2nd for the tie, Kings Lynn versus Ipswich. June the 5th, the Thursday, back at Vauxhall for the return leg of that. The aggregate winners will face either Leicester or holders Sheffield in the final. Those two will be racing each other in the same week as well. So that will be a Cup week, if you like, that first week of June. So a little way off that yet, but one for your diary nonetheless. Looking at the rest of the fixture picture then for the Rowe Motor Oil Premiership, we're back in action with Rowe Motor Oil Premiership fixtures, and Thursday sees Oxford versus Ipswich Witches. This is at, of course, Oxford Stadium, so that is on Thursday night. And first action at Oleton as well, the Sheffield Tigers versus the Birmingham Brummies at 7:30. You'll be well aware that there's been a big incident involving Ty Woofenden over in Poland. Our best wishes, of course, go to Ty Woofenden and his family at this time. As far as the Sheffield Tigers are concerned, they've been given a 28-day facility to cover for Ty Woofenden's appearances for the time being. So that will be rider replacement for the fixture against Birmingham. So Ty Woofenden's rides were covered by rider replacement. Of course, too early to say what will happen for the longer term with that situation. But those fixtures both getting underway 7:30 on Thursday, and then more Rowe Motor Oil Premiership action on Monday next week, April 7th. It's the second leg of that tie we were just talking about, with the Belle Vue Aces hosting the Kings Lynn Stars. Of course, still aggregate bonus points up for grabs as well there. 46-44 at half-time there in favour of the Aces. And at Perry Bar, it's the opening fixture of the Rowe Motor Oil Premiership at Perry Bar for the season, and Birmingham Brummies hosting the Ipswich Witches, which is going to be a big one. Incidentally, that will also be on BSN on Monday night. So that's how things look in the Rowe Motor Oil Premiership. Championship action gets underway this coming weekend as well. At the time of recording this, on the 1st of April, it is not a fool. We have a big weekend of Championship action, starting at Workington on Saturday for the Cab Direct Championship Pairs, and then we have action at the Eddie Wright Raceway, Scunthorpe, on Sunday for the Championship League Riders Championship. You might be questioning why these big events are happening back-to-back. There's good reason for it. We'll hear from Rob Godfrey, not only promoter at the Scunthorpe Scorpions, but chair of BSPL. And we'll hear from Andrew Bain, promoter of the Workington Comets, in the next part of No Breaks, No Fear.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
No breaks, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
So, the championship season is upon us and the stage is set for a bumper weekend of major events, 2 huge meetings to kick off the Cab Direct Championship season. Workington's GT Tyres Arena is the venue for the Championship Pairs on Saturday, that's April 5th, with the focus then switching to the Eddie Wright Raceway on Sunday for the Championship League Riders Championship at Scunthorpe. All 9 clubs will compete in the pairs, and as in recent years, there's no group stage as well. All race 4 times in an 18-heat schedule. It's the top 4 pairs on the 4-3-2-0 scoring system, just like you get in the Speedway of Nations, qualifying for the semi-finals, and the winners of those races then meeting in the final. Home club Workington, represented by Troy Batchelor and Tate Zischke, whilst Redcar's defence of the silverware sees recent Bears returnee Eric Riss team up with Charles Wright. Well, the weather is set to be fantastic this weekend for both of those fixtures. I spoke to Andrew Bain earlier, promoter at the Workington Comets, and started by asking him if this is their biggest meeting of the new era of the Workington Comets.
Yeah, probably, Ian. It's probably the biggest event we've held since we've come back in the last 3 years. It's going to be a big one, and we're all looking forward to there should be some really exciting racing. And like you said, the weather's going to be a good one, so hopefully we'll get plenty of fans coming.
Yeah, bring the sunscreen, I think, is my my learning from April at Workington last year. But not quite so warm in September, though. But anyway, that's how it goes on the West Coast, I guess. Tell us about the work you've put in at the stadium over the course of the winter, because I know you've been busy, haven't you? And we had a conversation at the end of last year, and you had to get a new air fence, and you've done further work around the track. So it's been a busy winter for you there in Workington. Yeah,
it definitely has. We couldn't have done it without the sponsors and all the helpers that we have, week in, week out, volunteers. No, absolute credit to them all. We've put a new air fence in, an Air Plus FIM, a new toilet box with running water and speakers and new standing areas.
Can you get all the way around the track now, pretty much, I think? You've sort of extended that 3rd and 4th bend for spectators, haven't you? Or you're doing that at the moment?
No, it's all extended. It's all finished, Ian. You can walk right round the full stadium now.
Obviously, now you're sort of into your 3rd year ever since sort of opening the doors again now, and your aim was to build a stadium that was FIM compliant, and obviously that work that you're putting in there continues that. Yeah,
it does. There's another couple of years building up where we want to be, and who knows, we'll see what happens in 2026 with FIM.
And how would you assess the last season then, looking back? Obviously managed to qualify for the playoffs, which was fantastic, and from a Workington Comets point of view, looking to kick on now in 2025 with a few new signings as well.
You know, last year we were underdogs and we got into the semi-finals and playoffs, semi-finals and everything, and yeah, it was exciting. But this year's, we're really looking forward to it. See what this year really brings. A few new riders, few of the same faces as well, so yeah, good mix.
On to the pairs this coming weekend then. It's a handy looking lineup, isn't it? And you got British champions, former Grand Prix riders, all the rest of it, all of the clubs represented in the championship as well. Through Workington, you've got Troy Batchelor and Tate Zischke coming in to represent, but looking at the whole lineup from Plymouth, obviously Berwick, Glasgow, Oxford, Scunthorpe, Redcar, Poole and Edinburgh, as well as Workington involved. It's quite a strong lineup, and be interesting to see what some of these riders can do around the GT Tyres Arena, because I'm not sure all of them have ridden there, have they? Or maybe they have by now.
No, not all of them are rode here. Nikolai Clint, he hasn't rode here. So we'll wait and see what happens. But no, it'd be really interesting. It'd be good. lot of riders coming back from last year who rode really well around here, so it should be some good, exciting racing.
As far as Workington's concerned, over the years, Workington's had a good relationship with the pairs, hasn't it? And I think it's held, you staged the pairs at the old Derwent Park, I think, going back in time, hasn't it? But obviously winners over the years as well, when it's been down at Somerset. So great to get this event back in the north, first of all, but it is a competition that Workington have been fairly synonymous with over the history of the club.
Yeah, it is. I think Workington's won it 5 times. They have. So, no, there's a lot of history with the pairs around Workington. So, no, it's good to get it back here. It is.
What other info do fans need then if they're planning a trip to Workington on Saturday? Either a drive up or drive down, depending where they're coming from. 3 o'clock start, but what's the other info?
It's the gates are open from 1 o'clock for the fans, and it's cash only. It is. So, yeah, there's plenty of stuff to do for the families when they get here. Hopefully we'll have a bit of a fun fair and that for the kids coming and that. So, no, there's something going to be on right through to the start time. The
big news, though, and this shouldn't be underestimated, that the Comet's beer is back in stock.
The Comet's beer, it is. And this time it's a new design. It's every can's got a different rider's face on. So there's a section of 7.
Right. So, yeah, you've got to get through all 7 to get the full set, but not necessarily if you're driving, of course.
It's always good to take a takeaway home with you.
Fantastic. Well, look, it's going to be a great event. Looking forward to it. Of course, if you're able to make it in person, it will be on BSN. But obviously, you want to get down there. The sun is going to be shining. Glorious location. And if you've not been to Workington's new stadium before, then it's well worth the trip. Looking ahead to the regular action, though, as far as the Workington Comets are concerned, Andrew, you must be excited for the season. I think the actual action for Workington's a couple of weeks away, I think, isn't it? Where you've got Edinburgh away and then at home for your opening fixtures in the BSN series. But then after that, it's going to come thick and fast. Yeah, it is. May's going to be a busy April. We start Easter Good Friday, then return leg on the Saturday back at Workington. Then May is going to be a busy month in June. So yeah, things will pick up, and yeah, looking forward to it. And just tell us about these, the riders you've got. Obviously, you brought in Tate Zischke last year, who was a bit of a left field signing to some, but obviously not to you. He's come in and obviously now he's riding with the Belle Vue Aces again and getting some great experience. But obviously doing quite a lot of work behind the scenes and keeping your ear to the ground on talent. You've got Fraser Bowes in the side now, who's another one. I know that Tate's brought his mate over, hasn't he? Viv Muddle, who's another potential prospect that's working with Darcy Ward. So just a little word of how you keep tabs with upcoming talent on the other side of the world. Well, got a few good people looking about. I'm in contact with Darcy Ward quite regular. Riders over in Australia, what's coming through. That's how Viv's ended up here for a few weeks practicing and that, and see how far he goes. See if we can get him signed up for 2027 or something. So, and yeah, just I keep an eye on the Polish leagues and the Swedish and Danish leagues and that, and just keep looking. You never know. Yeah, and having somebody like Darcy doing the scouting for you, and obviously he's never usually far off the money, is he? And certainly he's done that with Tate, who great to see him back from injury first of all, because it was a nasty one, but looking like he can kick on in 2025 as well. Oh, definitely. I think he's overcome his accident now, and he's been practicing a lot around here, and he's done a few meetings for Belle Vue now, so he's settled down, and he's looking forward to Saturday, see what he can do. Brilliant stuff. Well, keep up the good work there, Andrew. It's a terrific track, and becoming a terrific stadium as well as the development continues, and great to have a big major event at Workington as well. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on Saturday. Yeah, thank you, Ian. All the best. Thank you. Andrew Bain, promoter of the Workington Comets. Just to look through the lineups for the pairs then on Saturday at Workington. Team A will be Plymouth, Nikolai Clint and Ben Barker representing Plymouth. Workington represented by Troy Batchelor and Tate Zischke. There will be Team B. Team C, the Berwick Bandits, Drew Kemp and Craig Cook. Team D will be Glasgow, and that's Chris Harris and Dan Thompson. Team E will be Oxford, Sam Masters and Jordan Jenkins. Team F, Scunthorpe Scorpions with Steve Worrell and Simon Lambert. Team G will be Redcar Bears, Charles Wright and Eric Riss representing the Bears. Team H will be Poole Pirates, which is Louis Kerr and Zach Cook. And Team I will be the Edinburgh Monarchs, Justin Sedgman and Paco Castagna with his resplendent moustache. Looking ahead then to Sunday, it's the Championship League Riders Championship. And again, a top lineup here. This is how the draw looks, and this is draw order, not just alphabetical order. So Rider 1, Craig Cook, Berwick Bandits. 2 will be Jake Allen of Scunthorpe. Justin Sedgman at 3 for Edinburgh. Ben Barker representing Plymouth at 4. Sam Masters representing Oxford Cheetahs at number 5. Kyle Howarth of the Glasgow Tigers now representing number 6. At number 7 will be Danny King of the Redcar Bears. 8, Steve Worrell of Scunthorpe. Number 9 will be Troy Batchelor of Workington. 10, Richard Lawson of Poole. 11, Dan Thompson for Glasgow. 12, Eric Riss of Redcar. Louis Kerr at 13 for Poole Pirates. Chris Harris at 14 for Glasgow Tigers. 15, Charles Wright of Redcar. And Tate Zischke of Workington Comets at 16. That's the full lineup. So all eyes on the Eddie Wright Raceway Sunday afternoon, 3 o'clock start. Earlier I spoke to promoter at the Scunthorpe Scorpions and of course chair of BSPL, Rob Godfrey, about this big weekend and the start of the championship season.
Yeah, you couldn't have scripted it any better, could you? You've got a fantastic week leading up to it, and the weekend looks fantastic for Workington and Scunthorpe. So, yeah, I think that the gods are smiling on us this weekend for a change. So that's good to see. Hopefully everyone will be raring to go. I know the riders will be and the fans, and we'll give them 2 fantastic events to start off the season with. That's the plan.
Talk to us about the decision to run these events at the start of the season. I guess that I'm not sure if Cardiff was known at that point, but obviously the Pairs, of course, has been a part of that Grand Prix weekend. Obviously a different year this year from that point of view, but starting off with these 2 tournaments, just tell us the thinking behind it.
Well, you're right. I mean, we had no idea that Cardiff wasn't going to run, but it was felt that it was just nice to have another change from Oxford. Oxford had successfully run it 2 years previously. It'd been at Somerset, and it was successful every year. So it was felt, and I've been banging on the drum that, look, to get the best possible fields in all these events, we need to do it at the beginning of the season. A bit like the Peter Craven, at a different level, but championship-wise, to make sure that everyone's available, we need to do it at the beginning of the season. Last year we fell short because Redcar was supposed to run at the beginning of the season, but I can't really remember what happened. I think they had a testimonial to run, so it was put back, and then it was a bit of a disappointment and a bit of a poor field later in the season. So it wasn't a success. So I said, let's chuck everything into it, and let's go for it this year. So we formulated a plan. Workington put the hands up, which I thought was a great track to have it at. I said I would run it. And here we are.
Yeah, and so obviously Workington doing the pairs on the Saturday. On the Sunday, it's individual success which counts, and you've actually got a couple of riders representing Scunthorpe in the lineup as well. So Jake Allen, but also Steve Worrell, who of course makes the move to Scunthorpe in 2025 as well. Good to see Stevie back, and of course on familiar shale from yesteryear, I suppose, as far as Steve is concerned.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a few years ago, Stevie was with us, and then didn't have the best seasons and then moved away. But, he's a local lad now. He lives 20 minutes down the road. He had his illness last year, but watching him, he's had quite a few practices in the last few weeks, and he's really, really up for it this year. He's got his mojo back, and it's good to see, and we can only benefit from it because a fit, fast Steve Worrell is a hard man to beat at any level, not just a championship level. So, yeah, it's good. That's good. And obviously, Jake's a season contender now. He's been with us a while. He loves the track. So, we've got 2 people that potentially could be winners. But having said that, all the 14 could be winners because they all ride Scunthorpe so well. From Lawson to Riss to Danny King to Charles Wright. They've all put double scores in when they've been at Scunthorpe. So, yeah, I think both events are going to be very, very good, and it's good because we've got the best that we could possibly get.
It's a strong lineup for the CLRC, but then looking at the Championship as a whole, it's now a home of some really experienced riders. We're talking about, as I mentioned, some British champions, ex-Grand Prix riders, but those mixed in with the upcoming talent as well, the youth. So a great place to learn for these lads that maybe outgrown the National League now, and now the Championship setting its stall in that middle ground between the National League and the Premiership, where riders can move on to the next level.
Yeah, don't forget the youngsters. People like, I can only single myself out with young Luke Harrison and Ashton Bojan as well. We've got some great youngsters. William Cairns will be on the scene in June, July, whatever it'll be. His birthday is. So, there's some great young talent coming through, which is what we need. So it's not just about the season campaigners, it's about the youth that's going to be taking their place very shortly. So it's a good blend, it's a good mix, and I think it's a very strong league this year. 40 points has just made it that little bit better than where we were last year, but that was a necessary thing to do to blood some of these young Luke Harrisons, Aston Bosens, and Joe Thompsons, etc. So I do think we will reap the benefits of in the next couple of years.
On the subject of averages, fans love to talk about that, but perhaps this season will be different, Rob, because the average is staying the same, isn't it, for a few years now? So explain the thinking there, and that obviously that's going to provide a lot of consistency for riders and for team owners knowing exactly where they are, I guess, for the few years ahead.
Yeah, as I say, we had to go down to 38 points last year. There was too many riders with what would happen with the National League, because we felt that the National League wasn't going to run. We had a lot of riders potentially out of work. So we felt we had to do something in the Championship for them riders to gain a place in the Championship. So the only way to do it was to drop it to 38. That was quite successful. And I see Tom Spencer at Glasgow this year. He's another one that's moved up, top of the National League moved up. So I think we've taken care of that problem. But now we're keen to make our product, the Championship, the best that we possibly can. So we've gone back up to 40. I think 40 is a good number. It's in the middle of, you can still bring 2 pointers in and still bring the youth in, but also it's good for the fans. I think it's, some really strong teams again this year. And we're keen to make the Championship, as the Premiership is, the best that we possibly can. And I think 40 points does that, and stability at 40 points does that as well at the end of the season. I'll know it's 40 points, and I'll have a core idea of what I'm going to do for the year after. I'll be retaining riders towards the end of the season, not waiting for an AGM to decide a points limit. So, could even potentially be announcing riders before we finish. So, I think it's good for the fans, good for the riders, and it's certainly good for the promoters. So, 3 years fixed, 40 points. I think it's a win-win for everyone.
And overall, there are obviously more rides for these youngsters now. The National Development Trophy, National League, all providing extra opportunities for riders to get on track as well, and maybe then stake a claim for a championship spot in future.
Yeah, as I said, 2 years ago we thought it was all over. We made provisions in the Championship, as I said, and then I think it was Damien rang me and said, look, we're going to have to do something. We'll take the lead. Me and Scunny, still at Sheffield and join forces. We'll put a team in. We knew that Oxford had put a team in, and we knew that Edinburgh would put a team in, and Belle Vue as well. So we thought, well, we'll go with what we've got, and we'll try and make it bigger and better. And obviously, we had a successful year with the six of us last year that resurrected the National League on a proper level as such, because it had got a bit out of touch and out of its level had got maybe too high. And then this year we're faced with 5 more teams that wanted to come in, which was fantastic. But we need to create more riders for the other teams. So in the short term, we've just doubled up with the riders we've got, which then kills another bird with two stones, because it gives the riders more opportunities in one league and the other. So it's a win-win, but we are still keen through the youth system and through maybe grass track and motocross to attract more riders to Speedway. And having the two national leagues, the trophy and the league, that will do. It will tick that box. So it's a step in the right direction again.
When we think about riders who have moved up through the ranks, particularly at Scunthorpe, from the youth system right to the very top, no finer example of that than Ty Woofenden. Obviously, people will be aware Ty has had a really bad crash in Poland. And just to give you your chance to offer your well wishes, Rob, on that one.
Yeah, to say I'm gutted for him is an understatement. I did message him on Saturday to see if he would present the trophy for the CLRC next week, to be fair, and he did tell me his commitment to Poland was strong, and it's just a series of events that's happened that's really been so severe that you couldn't imagine, really. Going in and the bikes following in is just it's the worst case scenario in a lot of cases. So I really feel for the lad. I've known the family, or Rob especially, all my life, and I wish him so well. But Ty's a fighter. Ty's a really good fighter, and whatever the injuries are, because nobody knows yet, really, to a real extent. So, I feel for the family, feel for Rob, for Ty. Sorry. Yeah, our best wishes from Scunthorpe Speedway. We were blessed to have him in. I don't even know what year it was now. It was quite a while ago. And saw his development all the way through to going to be a world champion. So he is part of our club in a big, big way. And just all the best. And I'll be keeping in touch with him when he's available too, and see what we can do for him.
Obviously a worrying time, but everybody in British Speedway and indeed beyond offering their well wishes to Ty Woofenden, and hopefully we can bring some positive news on Ty as soon as possible. Let's look ahead to the fixture then. The CLRC at Scunthorpe. Rob, it's a 3 o'clock start, and be there on time.
It is a 3 o'clock start, yes. Anybody that knows me, I won't be hanging about. So if you're not there at 3 o'clock, we'll be starting without you. And we'll be whacking it through as best we can. I'd say it's forecast to be a nice day. Light winds, so it should be good for track prep. And after it, we'll have a new CLRC, but we'll have a CLRC winner. And hopefully, whoever wins the pairs the day before, we can put them on parade for the people that didn't go to Workington on the Saturday. Hopefully everyone went to Workington, but you never know. So we can make a good festival of it this weekend. Last time we had a festival of Speedway was at Peterborough, I do believe, quite a while ago. I think it was a weekend of Championship fours and things like that. So this is a little bit similar, but not the same. But if it's a success, then we will be continuing it year on year after that. So let's hope it is.
It will be a new winner because Josh Pickering won it last year, and he's not in it. So it will be somebody new.
He did. Yeah. Well, I'll never get in there to present the trophy if he's available. That would be nice.
Well, thanks for joining us, Rob. Good luck for the event on Sunday for the CLRC at the Eddie Wright Raceway, and for the season ahead for the Scunthorpe Scorpions. I know that you're always confident. It's Scunthorpe's year, is it? I understand.
It should be. It's 20 years this year. 20 years in racing, so it should be our year this year. It better be.
Time will tell.
A pirate or a tiger year this year. It's the year of the Scorpion.
Okay. Very good. All right. Well, look, thanks for talking to us, Rob, and we'll see you on Sunday.
Okay. Thank you very much. Take care.
Rob Godfrey, promoter of the Scunthorpe Scorpions, and of course the chairman of the BSPL as well. And his big event is taking place on Sunday, the Championship League Riders Championship, and on Saturday it is the Championship Pairs at Workington as the championship season gets underway in style with those big fixtures back-to-back on Saturday and Sunday. Of course, get there in person because you're going to be guaranteed some great entertainment. If, however, you can't make it, you will be able to take both meetings in on BSN. Now, if you're a subscriber to the Championship coverage, or you've got the full total pass on BSN, these fixtures are already included in the subscription, so you don't need to do anything. They're going to happen, and you'll get them anyway. But if you want to buy them as a one-off, you can get all the details, watch.britishspeedway.co.uk. If you can't make it in person, but of course, if you can, we will see you there. So, in the final part of No Breaks, No Fear, a couple more interviews from the Premiership Media Day, which took place at Oxford, almost a couple of weeks ago now. We'll hear from three of the Sheffield Tigers class of 2025, Daniel Hume, Leon Flint and Anders Rowe next.
No Breaks, No Fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome back. In this final part then, we'll shine a light on a few more interviews from the Premiership Media Day, which happened almost a couple of weeks ago now at Oxford. We had all 7 teams represented. We had, all 49 riders under one roof as well. So lots of interviews conducted. Last week, we featured a rider from the top end of all 7 teams. Let's hear from a few riders who have got an equally important part to play, of course, in the second strings and the rising stars and the reserve berths. We'll hear from 3 riders lining up for the Sheffield Tigers in 2025. They're all new signings as such. However, they're not necessarily new faces to Sheffield fans. We'll hear now from Daniel Hume, Leon Flint and Anders Rowe chatting to Mike Boswell.
OK, so we could term it that we're with the Sheffield new boys. Daniel, back in the Premiership for 2025. How did it come about? Looking forward to it?
Yeah, mate, can't wait. It's been a long off season as we finished our season in August last year, so yeah, it's been a really long wait, but yeah, I'm buzzing to get going, and yeah, we've got a good group of lads in this team.
And talking of good groups of lads, we're sat here obviously with Leon and also Anders. Leon, you're obviously with Sheffield for this year, Birmingham last year. Looking forward to it?
Yeah, definitely. Got a lot of top boys in the team to look for guidance. We'll certainly learn a lot off them, and we've got a really strong team, so hopefully finish off the season with a medal.
And sort of, we were talking, and I heard some of the things you were talking about a little bit earlier on, but you are involved in multiple teams, just not Sheffield. Is that all sort of part of what you see as a development for you, and perhaps like the year for you to come through this year?
Yeah, definitely. To be the best in the world, you need to be riding here and on the continent, and it's busy, it's tough, but if you want to be the best, you've got to put yourself out there. It costs a lot of money, but you do that to hopefully in the future earn a lot of money. But it's tough, but things is going in the right way, especially for myself, building up a good team around me, so hopefully that can show on track.
Awesome. And as whenever we talk, you seem to always be pretty much very busy here, there and everywhere. Same for you sort of this year?
Yeah, pretty much same as Leon. The busier you are, the better you are, and the more riding and racing you can do, you're only going to progress. So it's good, and the busier the better, and at the end of the year, if we can all get medals at the end, that'll be awesome.
And talking of kind of medals, just give me an indication of how many countries you're riding in, because you always, as I say, you always seem to have your fingers in many different pies, I think, as the saying goes.
Yeah, I'm racing 2 leagues in England and 2 leagues in Poland as well, so it keeps it busy and keeps me sharp on the bike, and it's good fun.
Awesome, excellent. And Leon, I know you've had some experience with Speedway GB, and as well, is that something you would like to continue to represent your country in?
Yeah, definitely. Been very proud representing my country. I've had many times been able to put the GB suit on, which makes me very proud. And we're out of the under 21 berth now, so I think we believe it's just the under 23, under 24s now, and we're trying to push for the senior places, European pairs and stuff like that. We did the European pairs last year and managed to get a bronze medal, I believe, and just stuff like that. It's good for the CV, and ultimately makes me very proud being successful in the suit.
Excellent. And Daniel, just kind of reflecting back to you, obviously you've been at Sheffield before, second time back at Sheffield. Now, what's it like when you've got the likes of the Holder brothers next door to you in the pits?
Mate, it's a good achievement for myself. Like, to be in a team with that sort of calibre of riders is great. And same with when I was at Ipswich, you had Jason and Emil. So yeah, being around those sort of riders, it does pull you on. And yeah, that's where we want to be. And obviously we're at the bottom end of the team, but if we keep pushing, we can hopefully establish what they have.
Awesome. And just Anna's reflection on the teams this year, much tougher, looks much tougher with a number of riders coming back. You know, who do you think the teams to watch out for are this year?
It's hard to say what teams, but obviously we're all going to say the Sheffield boys because we're in the team. So yeah, it looks a really good league all the way through. There's not one team that you can say that's weak or strong or anything. It's going to be, every meeting's going to be tough, as it is in the top league. So yeah, it'll be a lot of fun, and score as many points as possible and win as many races as possible.
No doubt. Well done, boys. Thank you.
So it all gets underway for the Sheffield Tigers in the Row Motor Oil Premiership on Thursday, April 3rd at Oleton Stadium as the Sheffield Tigers take on the Birmingham Brummies. Of course, they'll be facing at reserve berth one of their former riders from last year. Jason Edwards moves into the Rising Star berth for the Birmingham Brummies. And he too has been having a catch-up with Mike Boswell. Here is the Billericay Blaster.
First dibs is what they had on you this year. How, looking forward to Birmingham?
Yeah, it'd just be nice to get going and get some racing under our belt. I mean, it's a long winter when you, all we want to do is get racing again. So it's nice. Obviously today almost feels like it drags a little bit because we know we're nearly there. Do you know what I mean? So obviously tomorrow will be a big night, get back racing, and then we're in full swing again, aren't we?
Absolutely. And just for you, the winter, you say it's dragged on you. What's Jason get up to in the winter? Because Speedway's pretty much still a full-time employment if you're looking at some of the fitness and organisation, isn't it?
Yeah, like for me, obviously I can kind of make a living for 6 months a year, but obviously I need to get a proper job in the winter. So for me, I'm really fortunate. I work for one of my sponsors, Hagen Shocks, doing like the engineering side on the CNC machines, and it's, like I say, I absolutely really enjoy doing it. It's not like I'm going out and standing in the cold, freezing my hands off. Do you know what I mean? So that's brilliant. I bet it's very hard to get a job like that where you can dip in, dip out, and so on. But no, like I say, it also makes you appreciate the summer when you get to race Speedway. Do you know what I mean?
I do, and very interesting. You're saying about Hagen Shocks. Are you interested in that kind of engineering job, and does it give you a little bit of an insight to the mechanics of a Speedway bike as well?
Well, like I say, it's been absolutely brilliant for me. The stuff I've learnt there has been brilliant, and whether I take that on, if I finish racing or whatever happens, it's still a skill set that I've got that I wouldn't have otherwise. So, and I think that's a hard thing with Speedway. You kind of end up being very two-dimensional. Do you know what I mean? It's just turn up, get the bikes done, go to the track, and then just try and go as quick as you can. You end up not living and understanding the actual life. So that for me has been brilliant the last few years. Obviously I've done that, and even to the point where I've got so many guest bookings throughout the leagues. You end up knowing how other clubs work, different managements, if you get paid, if you don't get paid. Do you know what I mean? You learn the whole thing, and for me, it's the whole lifestyle of it. I say lifestyle, but it's the whole skill set that you can then take forward.
Do you think, obviously you're at the younger end of the Speedway spectrum, starting out. Do you think that Speedway is getting much more technical, much more like driven by numbers, by data, or do you still think it's a core kind of basic level?
I do, but at the same time, I think if you compare it to your road racing and your car racing, it's got nothing on them. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's still a single-cylinder, no brakes bike, and that is as basic as it possibly can. And we have got people who've started to get electronics starting to come into it all, but it's not like any other motorsport with that sense. It's still, you turn up with one mechanic and you're pretty good. Do you know what I mean? If you had an F1 car turn up, you have a whole team of people. So, and at the same time, I think that's good, because it also means any rider can go out on any day and beat anyone. And the other thing is you only got a minute race. Do you know what I mean? So the chance of me beating a very good rider is very high because I've only got a minute. If it was half hour, the better rider's always going to win. So for me in that position, the opportunity's there as well, and there isn't that in another sport.
Awesome, yes, and I can imagine, if it did go very technical, the outlay then is even higher for like computers and everything else that would go with that too.
Yeah, and it's still, I know everyone talks about the money of it all, but it's still a very cheap form of motorsport. Do you know what I mean? If you went go-karting for the weekend and the cost to go into a Speedway meeting for a weekend, you're laughing. Do you know what I mean? But like anything, the more you invest, the better equipment you get and the better results you get. So it all goes in circles all the time, and that's the point I'm at, is I need to score as many points as I can to invest and so on, and then you climb up the ladder.
Jason Edwards there, who will feature in that opening fixture at Oleton for 2025 as the Sheffield Tigers take on the Birmingham Brummies on Thursday night. So here's a full look at the fixtures for the next week or so ahead. Rowe Motor Oil Premiership on Thursday, April the 3rd. The next action in British Speedway, and that is Oxford Spires versus the Ipswich Witches, and it's the Sheffield Tigers versus the Birmingham Brummies. Friday then, April 4th, we kick off the first Scottish derby at Championship level. It's obviously not a league match, it's the Scottish Cup, so a bit of a pre-season friendly, but it's, if there can be such a phrase used between these two, but Edinburgh Monarchs versus the Glasgow Tigers at Armadale in the Scottish Cup, first leg 7:30 on Friday night. Then on Saturday, the Championship Big Weekend kicks off at 3 o'clock in the afternoon at Workington, but doors opening before that. I think 1:30 the gates open for the Championship Pairs. This is going to be mega, so that starts at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then 24 hours later over to the Eddie Wright Raceway for action on Sunday, the Championship League Riders Championship. That also starts at 3 o'clock at Scunthorpe's Eddie Wright Raceway. Monday, back to Rowe Motor Oil Premiership action. National Speedway Stadium, the venue for the Belle Vue Aces versus the Kings Lynn Stars. Belle Vue, of course, narrowly winning in the first meeting between the two sides just earlier this week. So only a couple of points in it, though, 46-44 at the halfway stage there, and the aggregate bonus point is back in play once again this season. The other fixture is at Perry Bar as the Birmingham Brummies are in action against the Ipswich Witches. That's at 7:30. That fixture will also be live on BSN, as will the two Championship Big Weekend fixtures on Saturday and Sunday as well. Then we move on to Wednesday next week, just looking further ahead, the Maxi Cab Knockout Cup quarter-final. That is the name of the Championship Knockout Cup for this season, and the first leg between the Oxford Cheetahs and the Scunthorpe Scorpions at 7:30. Thursday, April 10th, back to the Rowe Motor Oil Premiership. Ipswich versus Oxford, the return leg between the pair. Leicester versus Belle Vue in a restaging of the grand final, of course, from last year. And the Sheffield Tigers versus the Kings Lynn Stars. That's how things look for the next week ahead. Have a great time wherever you're heading in Speedway, whether you're taking in some of those Championship Big Weekend fixtures, one or both of them, or indeed heading to any of the league meetings that are coming up. Have a fab time. We'll be back with another episode for you, same time next week on No Brakes, No Fear. Take care.
No Brakes, No Fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Location, the lab. Quentin only has 24 hours to sell his car. Is that even possible? He goes to Carvana.com.
What is this, a movie trailer?
He ignores the doubters, enters his license plate. Wow, that's a great offer. The car is sold, but will Carvana pick it up in time for...
They'll literally pick it up tomorrow morning. Done with the dramatics?
Car selling in record time.
Save your time. Go to Carvana.com and sell your car today. Pickup fees may apply.